Good day, fellow Lasallians, and welcome back to Bro & Co., where we bring you freshly brewed conversations on life, learning, and Saint Lasal. I'm Brother Rigi, your newest brother in school, and I'm excited to talk about things that matter most to you. Welcome back, and we're here at episode 6. And of course, as we travel the school year, as we study and work and live together, although online, we are experiencing a lot of things in our lives today. And so, for this very special episode, we would like to welcome you and to invite you to join us in welcoming our very, very special guest that we have, of course, our dearly beloved students. Help me welcome in our show 4 special persons who are of course, experiencing whatever it is that you are experiencing as young Lasallians and as students in this border-free education setup. And of course, we all know the gifts, the challenges, the joys, and the difficulties of it. But it's also very nice to talk about all these things that matter most to us. So for this very episode, help me welcome our first guest. He is a grade 8 student who enjoys reading, writing, listening to music, a tiny bit of cooking, and of course, spending quality time with friends and family. Our very first guest is Jaedon Villena. Hi, Jaedon.
Hi po, brother. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi, Jaedon. Jaedon, help me welcome our second guest, Lorin Idjao, a lawn tennis player, a student athlete of our school who does her best and spends time with her family and friends during her spare time, despite not always having the luxury of time. We're very, very happy that you have time for us today. Hi, Franz.
Hello po, brother. Hello po, everyone.
Hello. All right. Our third guest for this episode is Brianna, Danielle, Orcena, our grade 10 SCB representative and our CCAT volunteer who spends her me time fangirling and watching K-drama or Netflix series. Let's welcome Brianna on the show. Hi, Brianna.
Hello po. Hello, everyone.
All right. And last but not the least, of course, our very energetic young Lasallian, Louise Gesmundo, a bubbly grade 4 student who, according to him, in his free time, plays with his toys, particularly Legos and Minions, watches cartoons and YouTube videos about history and geography. And he is also very, very excited that he just started this vlog in this quarantine. So, welcome to the show, Louise Gesmundo. Hi, Louise.
Hello po. Hello
All
po,
right. How are you all feeling that you're finally on the show here in Bro & Co? We're very, very excited to know what has been happening to all of us in our lives as students. And maybe before we begin, I'd like to ask you guys to maybe just talk a little about yourself. How are you doing lately? And then, kamusta kayo sa bahay? What do you typically do at home? Jaedon, maybe we could start with you.
Yeah, sure po, bro. I guess po I'd like to start to say that this pandemic has really been a different situation. I think po all of us can agree. But I guess po to start, well, normally po, my everyday life po, my day in the life po, would really begin po with me waking up with my alarm. I always like po to set my alarm at 7 a.m. Pero naturally po, if I'm lucky, I'll wake up po at around 8 after I press po the snooze button mga 5, 6 times just to make sure po.
5 or 6 times, okay.
Then after that, it's really like the normal flow of the day. Siguro breakfast, of course, take a shower, and really, of course, attend classes.
Of course, yes.
That should be a given. Normally, I always like having my notes with me whenever I have class. Parang medyo natatense po ako pag walang mga notes, walang mga, like nothing to look at. Then really, after classes, let's say around 12 o'clock period, it's the lunch rush, they say nga po. From that day po, things change from day to day depending on the activities or really po what I'm feeling. Pero in the afternoon po, I'm putting some time po for studying. I always try po to allocate some of day-to-day time for going outside. I actually like po taking walks now. But the thing is po, even though po there's a lot of construction, even though po I have to wear a mask when I go outside, I just like seeing the sun, seeing the leaves, and it's really just like that po. Then course, there's dinner. Then after that, I'll take a nap.
Until the next day na.
Until a really long nap.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Jaedon. It's nice to know that you also have some time for yourself to walk outside, diba? To see the leaves and the nature, no? And it's interesting to know how important it is for you to have that schedule. But later on, we'll have that conversation on that one. Thanks, Jaedon. How about you, Franz? What's a typical day for you like?
I guess I can relate with what Jaedon said, that this pandemic has really changed the course of our day-to-day activities. And being a student athlete especially po, it's been a very different situation because during face-to-face classes, I would wake up at around 4:30 a.m. to go to training and papasok po ng school, and then after school, during hapon na po, papasok po ulit ng training, and when I get home, I do assignments. And now it's more of just waking up, doing tasks po in school, and then until mga hapon po, I take some time, as Jaedon does, to allocate to workout kasi it's still important to keep fit and healthy, especially po during this pandemic. And pagkatapos po nun, go back to studying, and just like what Jaedon said, it's almost routine po just to wake up and study.
Right, wake up, study. And for your case, no, parang lawn tennis player ka, right? How do you practice? Or parang paano yun? Like, how do you train yourself during this pandemic?
Po, Lasal po provided an online program po in which we train together po with my teammates online. Doing workouts, and sometimes po when we get lucky, dahil po minsan nag-ease po yung community quarantine since tennis is a non-contact sport, and minsan po pinapayagan po yung minors, I can play a little bit po outside.
Right, and of course, there's a court and you have someone to play with, right?
Opo.
Alright, that's good. So, buti at least, diba, hindi ka 1 year talagang naka-break
Kaya
sa
nga
tennis. Mahirap yun, especially for athletes. I was an athlete before when I was in high school and grade school, and parang after, diba, making that as a part of your day, now suddenly we're all at home, and then it takes a different form. Right? And later on, it's interesting to note how that affected you also as an athlete. All right. Thanks, Franz, for sharing a bit about yourself. How about you, Brianna? What's a normal day like for you?
Actually po, before the school year started, me and my sister, we set rules to instill discipline din po. And para po ma-feel din namin na even though we're in this kind of setup na sa house lang, parang we're still attending class with a regular schedule to follow. So during the morning, before attending my VCE, I make sure that I have taken a bath already. I have eaten my breakfast, just like my regular morning routine before going to school. And then after my classes, I prepare our food because most of the time din po my parents are busy sa kanilang work. So ako na rin po yung nag-take care of our house, yung mga household chores. And then after pa po nun, tsaka ako nagsa-start with my modules and my other extracurricular activities in the afternoon po.
Interesting na ikaw na rin ngayon, maybe because you're the ate, no? So parang it's interesting na you're also helping out in the house and cooking. What is it that you prepare for the family?
First time ko po nagluto on my own is chicken adobo po. Yun po.
Okay, nice. And nakakatuwa kasi parang, di ba, with this pandemic, parang there are a lot of things that we also got to learn. Maybe sometimes we're forced to learn about them, di ba? Forced to cook, forced to, do all the household chores. But eventually, di ba, parang we get to see na parang, okay, kaya ko pala magluto. So, interesting. Mahaba rin yung kwento ko about cooking and how we were kind of forced with the brothers. I was from Iligan before coming to Lipa, and for the first few months of the quarantine, we asked ourselves to cook because we said, okay, no one else in the house except us for protection and all those things. But that's a whole different story. But yes, dami nating mga pwedeng matutunan, no? And of course, even with the challenges, there are a lot of things that we could still do. And of course, last but not least, Jose, how are you doing? What's a good day for you, our newest YouTube sensation?
It's like when I go to school back before quarantine, but it's a bit different. Instead of just taking any commute vehicles, I just use my feet. And also
Okay.
sometimes when I wake up a bit late, I have to eat breakfast while attending VCE.
Okay. Do you turn on your camera while eating?
No.
Ano? Okay. And then what else? What happens after eating? What do you do?
After my eating, I just go outside first to just put my plate in the sink. Then I just rush back to go about the lesson. After VCE, I just go to my modules. I just pick my own. I just pick a module. Then
Okay.
I do it. But I
Okay.
need to go to class. I just stop doing modules first. Then I'll just complete later in the afternoon. After VCE again, I just have lunch. Then I spend my time until 1 o'clock for YouTube. Then I just continue my modules. When I'm done with the module, I just I close the laptop. Then I do a bit of command. It's like a math
Come on.
challenge.
Math. You love math, Louise?
It's a bit long. Anyway,
Okay.
after that, after I do my command, I just go out my room. Then just watch on TV. Sometimes when I go outside, when I am almost done with my command, I have to go outside because I have to treat my two sisters. They're a bit annoying.
Okay. All right. What
When
do
my
you do
mom
with
came,
them?
no, they mostly sleep in the afternoon. That's
Okay.
what they. I just watch TV, then I eat a bit of food. Then when my mom comes home, I just go back to use my laptop for other things, like, for fun. Then when it's time to eat, I close the laptop, then I just rush to eat. Then I just go back. Then I just do my night activities. Then I just go to sleep.
The whole process begins again. Interesting. Thank you, Luis, for that very detailed sharing. I hope you have time to record your YouTube videos, right?
Of course, I mostly use it on the night.
You do it
Mostly
on the
night.
night.
Yes, mostly night. It's because I have free time in the night.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Luis. So it's interesting to note how your day is like memorized in your head, diba? You study and then eventually you eat. Of course, you wake up and all those things. No? But out of all these things, one thing stood out for me, no, after listening to all your stories. You say, and then I go to sleep and then the whole process begins again. Okay. So parang siguro that's common for all of us, right? Na parang, okay, tomorrow is a new day, but it's the same day. Diba? And out of all that routine, that repetitive cycle in our day, what is it that is most challenging for you? But at the same time, what is it that makes you look forward to the next day? So parang ano yung challenge, but at the same time, ano yung fun or ano yung joyful thing that you also get to experience throughout your day? Sige, let's start with the challenging stuff. France, maybe we could start with you.
I think one of the most challenging things that we face during this pandemic is yung mental pressure that this pandemic has put on us po, especially being at home, being confined at home. And yun lang po talaga yung nagagalawan. And
Correct.
besides that po, I think extra pressure din po from ACADS. The pressure that na kailangan matapos to. And since self-paced nga po yung Lasal, parang in a way, it's a double-edged sword po na it's good and it's also sort of bad dahil it's good na you can take your own pace pero it can be challenging if you feel na parang, hala, bakit parang naiiwan na ako na ibang kaklase.
That's right.
Po. So I think in terms of being a student athlete, I think yung motivation din po to keep training and keep having a positive mindset. Ayun.
Right. And interesting yung, how do you train for tennis, diba? If, of course, number one, you're at home. Sometimes you get to go out, if ever, no? But most of the time, you're at home and, diba, as you said, you're confined in a space. But how do you keep that mental upbeat to train, to be able to do your academics and balance stuff and all? How do you do that?
I think, it's really important to have that time management. Kasi po, especially being student athletes, and maybe now na yung mga students po, mas nare-realize po nila kung gaano po ka-importante yung time management. I think it's important na you set a time and you get used to a routine. Kasi when you get used to that routine po, you kind of get the hang of doing things. And yun nga po na repetition, yung practice makes perfect and you just keep doing the things that you want to do. Kasi you've gotten used to it and you know that those things that you're doing are good for you.
Right. And that's very inspiring, no? But we all know it's nice to have that certain routine, no? It's nice to have that certain rhythm, as Satim said. As athletes, parang we're used to doing the same thing all over again because naturally, pag training, ganon, diba? So, do 100 layups or something. So, before I was a swimmer, so we'll do like 100 laps, no? Or, for example, X amount of laps times 4, something like that. So, but now, it's a whole new thing. It's not just with our sport, but also with the day, with the academic rigor, with the requirements that the subject or the school would ask from us. And that's interesting, France, and thank you for that. No, but I'd like to ask Brianna, how do you do that? How do you manage that daily grind, as they say, daily grind with the self-paced setup? And we know how challenging it could be, but at the same time, we know how it also empowers us. So how do you manage those sides?
As you said nga po, I also follow a routine. So in the morning, I focus on my VCE and then I help with the chores at home. And then I make sure that by 5 p.m., I'm already done with all my academic requirements so that from like 6 p.m. until night, it's like my me time. So this is where I get to do the things that I want. For example, catch up on my series that I'm watching, or I can fangirl on the bands that I like. I also use this time to talk to my friends, to ask how they're doing. And it's really important po that you have time management nga po. And what's nice is that with this setup, I was able to figure out the learning style that is effective for me. So with that po, I get to decide when I take my breaks, when I start my modules, and I get to rest if ever I feel tired or if I feel like nasa-stress na po sa modules, pwede po akong magpahinga and take time for myself po.
Right. Very interesting. Thanks for that, Brianna. Parang sabi mo, because you have a schedule now, you get to set your recess, you get to set your break, you get to set your Korean. Are you a fangirl of Korean stuff also?
Yes po, yes po.
Okay, so just to get it right, no? So you get to have time for your fangirling with whatever interests and hobbies, and you get to have time with your friends as well, no? And parang nakita ko na we don't discount that it is a very challenging setup, right? It's very challenging for all of us, students, teachers, parents, di ba? But at the same time, lumabas din the things that help you out with that would be having hobbies and being able to really go deep into your modules at a certain pace, at a certain time, di ba? And still have time to socialize with your friends, right? That's very, very interesting. And I'd like to throw the same question and ask the same question to Louise. How about you? How do you manage your time with your friends? How do you socialize? How do you get to talk to with your classmates and all that? How do you guys do it?
Well, I use app like it's Messenger, right? I use that for GCs, video chats, and mostly chat. Sometimes I even do that in the afternoon if I have a mood for it. That's how
And
I.
all right, you use your messenger to chat with your friends and all. And what do you guys usually talk about? Like, di ba? Usually sa school, parang pag nag-recess or kapag halimbawa, wala si teacher sa classroom. Ako before, when I was a student, I was like that, no? If the teacher is out, no? Halimbawa, yung shift ng subject. Sometimes, parang that's when you release your energy because, di ba? Pag nandiyan si teacher, of course, you're sitting, di ba? Behave and, hands on your lap, hands on the table and all that. But once the teacher is out, that little break there, sometimes, di ba, parang that's our time to talk to our classmates and all. And marami tayong mga pwedeng pag-usapan. But what do you guys talk about now, Louise, with your friends, with your classmates, if you don't get to meet each other in school?
We just tell about our day, what our favorite things are, and games. Sometimes games too.
All right, that's good. But it's also interesting that you're able to manage your time socializing through Messenger and at the same time. But you mentioned earlier, Louise, that even in academics, you have a schedule, di ba? Does it help you that you have a schedule with your day? You know when you're supposed to do your subjects and all that?
Yes, it does help. But that didn't help in the first quarter because I finished all those first quarter modules in just 2 weeks.
Oh,
Just
just 2 weeks. Okay, great. That's good.
one. Now I only do one module a day, and one module I do right. It should be 3 hours. I do that in about 30 to 40 minutes or so. Yeah.
All right. And are you able to learn throughout with the modules?
Yeah, I think that's a bit impressive. I do modules in a quick time.
Oh, that's good. So, di ba, parang you're able to know also na parang, ay, magaling pala ako sa ganitong field, magaling pala ako sa ganitong area. Diba? And that's very interesting coming from a grade 4 student. No? So, thank you very much for that. I'd like to ask Jaedon also, how do you manage your academic load and at the same time your socialization with other students, no? And even with your org mates in CCAT.
Normally po, I also really agree po with the statements po of Louise, Ate Brianna, and Ate Franz po because I always love po keeping a schedule. In fact nga po, I have a whiteboard, small whiteboard po. I always write po the things I'm gonna do on that day po. Just out of reach now, I can't get it. But every time po, especially now in the pandemic, we're still kind of figuring things out. What am I gonna do today? How am I gonna do it? I really think po keeping a schedule is really nice po because it's like parang you're facing some uncertainty with some knowledge beforehand po. Parang, I think I know how I'm gonna strategize, how I'm gonna take on the day po. But when it comes po to socializing po with friends, we really also po use yung mga things like Messenger or Discord. Chat nga yung mga about the lessons po, like, what's this about, ganun po, and ano. But really po, I think when it comes po to socialization, the best days po are like on Friday and Saturday po, when there's really not that much things to do po. We like po to connect especially po through gaming. Me and po my old friends, sometimes po we play games po like Minecraft po or Call of Duty. And I think po it's such an important thing po kasi we just like challenging each other, building things, or we just really just like talk about what's happening. And
yeah, interesting though. Actually, you said about games and about parang having Discord and socialization and all that. Actually, before, in my previous years in the ministry as a brother, we actually used Minecraft in education. So that is very, very important for us now, no, especially in an online setup. Ako, I believe as a very young brother and as a teacher, parang we don't just learn in the classroom, we don't just learn in our modules, we don't just learn from our teachers. We also learn in the very things that we do at home, diba? So we learn about new stuff. But of course, no, again, it's difficult during this time. It's also interesting and maybe a bit heartwarming to know what is it that you've learned, as what Jaedon said and Brianna kanina said she was cooking. What is it that you've learned about yourself or any new skill that this quarantine, or maybe not the quarantine, but the reality, diba? The reality that you are at home, what new skill or what new thing about yourself did you learn?
It's hard to answer po because I feel like every day has just been such a routine that everything just kind of blurs together. Pero I think I've learned something new is that I have a passion for documentaries. Like watching documentaries po on Netflix, ganun po, or like true crime documentaries. I don't know, maybe the mystery of things in documentaries like that interests me. And I'd like to add to what Jaedon said na parang socializing. Napapasana all na lang po ako kasi I think Brianna can relate kasi nga medyo papunta na po kami sa senior high. Medyo nagiging mas mature na po yung mga friends namin, mas naging mature na po kami. And so sometimes, time can be such a luxury for everyone. So parang spending time with your friends, parang napakabihira na lang po minsan. And kung makapag-usap man po kayo, tungkol naman pa rin po sa ACADS. So I think that's what I've learned.
Right. Parang, parang the learning that you shared, na time is such a luxury. And maybe that's also something that we could cherish, diba, as friends. I don't know if you guys feel this way sometimes, no? Parang you're intentionally catching up with your friends, you're intentionally asking them how they are because you just miss them so much, diba? And parang this pandemic, that's something that I wish we all learned about the reality of relationships, diba? That how important it is to actually cherish the relationships that we have. And although we are all disconnected from each other physically, there is always an opportunity for us to connect with each other, diba? So, yeah. Brianna, how about you? What could you say about that?
I agree po with Franz. Actually, nung beginning po nung quarantine, I really had a hard time connecting with my friends then and with my other relatives po. Kasi since we don't see each other very often, unlike before, parang hindi na po kami nakapag-keep in touch with one another. Pero this quarantine po, I learned that it's really important to reach out to them. Kahit simple, kamusta, how are you, I'm doing fine. Simple kwentuhan lang po. It can help na po with your relationship. So, like ngayon po, my friends din po, we have a Discord server din po. Tama po si Franz. Ngayon po, parang usually ang pinag-usapan na lang po namin is modules, summative assessments, bihira na po yung mga like normal chika at school, ganon. I also find time to bond with them. So my friends po, we set a date where we're all available so we can talk with one another, play games, catch up on our lives. And this quarantine po parang I really valued the relationships I have with my family, with my friends. Ganun po kasi I feel like it's the only thing that's constant in the world. It's really changing na po and parang our support group, our support system, yun lang po yung parang very solid now.
Yeah, ang ganda nung sinabi mo, Brianna, that our relationships with one another, especially with our closest friends, is the only thing that's constant in the world, diba? And interesting to ask about this, no? Anyone could answer again. How did you guys find new ways to reach out to them? Of course, Messenger, Discord. What are the, what's the intentional activity, or sometimes what do you plan, no? Para naman it's not always academic topics that you talk about, but what do you do? What do you do when you guys reach out, when you socialize with your classmates and friends? How do you do that now in an online setup?
Bro, I guess for right now, it's still sort of the same po with yung mga internet, messenger. But really po, aside po from mga games po and things, sometimes one of our favorite things po really is just to sit down and chat. I guess it's not the biggest departure po from online chatting, or sometimes po we like to recreate things like, di ba po normally pag mga lunch or recess, parang nakupo lang po kayo, then you just talk about this, what happened to that, what happened to this. Sometimes po we just do like that. We just sit there, talk to each other, reminisce sometimes, and just check on each other po, which is I think po really nice.
Right. Thanks for that, Jaden. How about the others? Do you experience the same thing as well? How about you, Jose? Talking about random stuff with your friends, chatting with them about random stuff that you did throughout the day. Do you also do that?
Only sometimes po. Sometimes we talk about learnings too. Sometimes we talk about what are our own opinion too.
Oh, that's really good that you get to share with your friends about your opinion and all. Have you shared to your friends about your YouTube channel?
Yeah. I shared that already.
Oh, that's good. That's really, really cute. And how did you come up with those topics for your YouTube channel, Jose? How did you end up deciding to start your YouTube channel?
Well, I was inspired by when I keep on watching YouTube. I subscribed to lots of channels and I decided to say to my mind, why not start my own? So I did.
Yeah, and what's the topic of your YouTube channel?
Mostly history and sometimes geography.
Okay, that's really interesting. I could also follow you on YouTube because I have an account on YouTube, but I don't have my channel. I use it for studies and all. But yes, maybe I could later on, Jose, you can tell us your YouTube. Would that be okay?
Okay po yan.
Okay, very good. Sige. And guys, very, very interesting yung sharing nyo about, being able to socialize even in an online setup, being able to study even in an online setup, being able to schedule yourself, di ba? And decide when you are going to study, when you're going to pray, when you're going to play, when you're going to have your time with your parents and all those things. And maybe just to share with all our viewers today as we wrap up our episode, what is it that you would like other people to know about the joys and the challenges of what we're experiencing here, of course? And for you as a student, as a Lasallian, what would you like to share to others? If there's anything that you would like them to remember from our episode today, and of course from you, what is it and why?
Bro, I'd like to start really by saying one of the biggest things I've come to learn during the pandemic right now is really every day, pero have like daily goals, daily accomplishments, not necessarily things you write or things that are academic, but have goals, have parang things that you want to accomplish for yourself. And another really thing is, aside from being positive, of course, is to really seek help, seek consultation. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts, share your opinions, or even ask for help. That's something I've really come to know because normally po during the face-to-face, I wasn't really the biggest person asking questions like, how does this work? Because I always like reviewing, doing like this. But now, because of the uncertainty, sometimes I'm just really not sure. There are times na I'm confused. I don't really know what to do. And I really think we should really find the time and talk, especially to the people we find closest to us, like our friends, teachers, and especially our parents, which this is just very personal po for me because I'm really thankful po for having very supportive parents po. I'm very happy po to spend so much time with them po and things like that po. It's really important to me and I bet what's really important to all of us. And siguro po one last learning po I'd like to share po is because things are quite uncertain, things are quite turbulent nga po minsan, sometimes you shouldn't be so hard on ourselves. Sometimes we don't complete our goals. Sometimes we don't do the things we'd like to do. We don't answer enough modules. We don't answer the essay in the correct time frame. But sometimes you have to come to a point to realize that that's okay. We shouldn't be afraid of not doing so well because remember, if we try our best, if we believe in God, we believe in ourselves, we believe in our friends, that's good enough. I think that's what I have po.
Right, very, very heartwarming, Jaedon. No? A lot of things that you've also shared also taught me, even as a brother. And those are very good reminders for all our viewers and for all of us here on our episode. Thank you for that, Jaedon. Franz, how about you?
Ano po, I was very inspired by what Jaden said. And I remember a quote from my greatest idol po in tennis, Roger Federer. He said, you need those short-term goals to motivate and inspire you to chase the long-term ones. So I think it's really important po that we choose to celebrate the small victories. Na parang, sa ngayong araw nakatapos ka na isang module, that's okay. You should celebrate that and take that as something that will push you forward and do more tomorrow. And besides that po, I think the importance po nung sinabi ni Jaedon na it's so important to listen to yourself, to understand what you need, and yung especially po in terms of your mental health and how you approach things, your modules. I think it's important po na you really listen to yourself and you understand the pace that feels comfortable to you, especially po with the uncertainty and the instability of the current pandemic. Lastly po, I think if there's really one thing that I'd like to share, it would be to really have that drive to continue going forward, to keep going po. To borrow what my coach always says po, padayon lang. Bisaya po yun for keep going. And I think kahit napakasimple lang po siya na quote, it can be such a thing na nakakalimutan po natin and inspire us to keep going po. Ayun.
Right. Ang ganda, Franz. It's so positive, but at the same time, very realistic that throughout our challenges, sometimes we feel that we're just going in circles, but we're actually moving forward as long as we celebrate our little wins, be able to grow a little by little each day. Thanks, Franz. How about you, Brianna?
For me naman po, I think since we are self-paced, what's really important is to figure out what learning style is effective for you, because what may work for another person may not work for you. So it's important to figure out what learning style will make you more productive. In my case po, like Jaedon, I have a planner where I plan the things that I have to accomplish for the week so that it keeps me on track with the suggested lock dates and as well as the virtual class engagements. Another is really important to take breaks, because like for me po, whenever I feel stressed or whenever I feel pressured, I try to forget about my pending activities and have time for myself, because I realized that kapag po pinupush ko po lalo yung sarili ko to accomplish my modules or to finish my tasks, I feel more pressured, I feel more stressed and more frustrated. So nagiging less productive po ako. And yeah, when I figured that out, parang it's a big help din po to, take rests. And then lastly, I heard this from a video po. It says, when you feel like things are a bit overwhelming, focus on the things that you can control. So, kunwari po, you're bombarded with many activities and malapit na yung deadline, or if you have to start the modules for the next quarter but you're still stuck on the summative assessments, take a step back and only focus on one thing first. Kunwari po, focus only on the summative, and then little by little po, like sabi nga po ni Franz, focus on the little goals until you achieve the goal that you really want to achieve. Yun lang po. Thank you po.
Yeah, salamat, Brianna. Thanks for that. Nakakatawa kasi while I'm listening to all of you, I'm also being reminded of all those things, diba? It really transcends. It's not just for young students, it's for everyone, that we should get to know ourselves, what works for us, what are the strategies that would work for us, if we're a morning or night person, diba? And be able to know how our body responds to the challenges, and at the same time, the triumphs that we experience each and every day. Thank you, Brianna. Jose, we'd like to hear what you would like to say to all our viewers. Maybe you could also promote your YouTube channel to inspire them as we all go through this pandemic together. What is it that you'd like to say to them, Jose?
Well, I found this website that's called Success Pictures. It shows some consequences or some things of what you're doing. One thing that I read is you can't experience success if you can't experience failure. That's a basic step. It means that you need to fail before you can even succeed. It's like learning from your mistake. And that is a good message to all.
All right. Thank you for that, Jose. That's very, very wise. That's true, no? That we get to know ourselves when we do not reach our goals, when we're able to, as they say, fail. But more than that, the more positive outcome of that one is really we know how we could move forward. So thank you for that, Jose, for sharing that wonderful insight to us. As I promised to you at the start of our show, I'm going to give you the chance to actually promote your YouTube channel. Would you like to invite all our guests to watch you and when your next episode would be?
I'll post the link to the channel below in the description.
Okay, great. What would the episode be about? What's the topic?
I'm still thinking about it. It's like still building up. My latest
Okay.
video is a bit of a song.
Okay, we'll watch that later if it's online already. Thank you, Jose. How about for Jaedon, Franz, and Brianna? Anyone who you would like to greet? Any shout out people you'd like to say hi to? Go ahead. We can go first with Jaedon.
Hi to those watching. Siguro, hi din my mama and my papa. Hi. I guess
Hello po.
if you're watching this, whoever's watching po, I'm super happy to be here. Yeah po, that. Stay safe.
Yeah.
God bless po.
Okay, thank you, Jaedon. Thanks for being very, very casual. And hello to your mom and dad also. All right, friends.
Po, I'd like to give a shout out to my capstone group mates kasi tumakas po ako sa meeting para lang po dito. So, and I'd like to also shout out my teammates po who continuously support me, and hi to everyone watching din.
All right, great, friends. Brianna, go ahead.
First of all, thank you din po for having me here. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'll just say hi po to my friends and to my classmates po. To my sikat members, hi. Yun lang po. And to the viewers po today.
Okay, thank you, Brianna. And thank you to all of you who stayed with me in the episode, this sixth episode of Bro and Co. We hope and pray that all of you are safe at home and that you're able to learn from our episode just as much as I did. No? Ang dami nilang sinabi. Ang daming sinabi ni Jaedon, Franz, Jose, and Brianna about anything and everything that is happening in the school and in their lives as young Lasallians. And for all of you who are watching this episode, we hope that you get to also learn more about yourself. You get to also learn more about your schedules, what works for you. We know that it's very, very challenging. Lahat tayo nahihirapan. I think that's a given. But at the same time, this is also an opportunity for all of us to stay together, be together, and move forward together as a Lasallian family. And so, thank you for watching Bro and Co. episode 6. If you have friends or Lasallian partners or classmates or best friends who you would like to have with us here in the show, you could just click this link and you could visit us in our Facebook and YouTube pages. You could also see those links in the description. Again, thank you very much for joining us in our 6th episode. Look forward to seeing you in our 7th episode of Bro & Co., where we bring you freshly brewed conversations about life, learning, and Saint Lasal. Thanks!